Hello and a very good morning to you once again. It's day 3 of the Total BWF World Championships 2015. As I'm sure you're very aware by now, we're at the famous the Istora Senayan in Jakarta in Indonesia. It's like badminton's come home, and this is the early lineup for you here in this third day, second round, of course, of these World Championships, starting off with the #1 seeds in the women's doubles. Derek Wong and Tanongsak Sayansong Bunsuk have met a fair few times. One of Indonesia's hopes, Maheswari and Polly up against another Malaysian women's doubles pair. And then the #10 seed, Kashyap of India, up against Un Tien Min of Vietnam, before Phuong Zhang, the #5 seeds in the men's doubles, take on the Germans Fuchs and Schurter. So that's the lineup we've got for you, and this is the first match that's coming our way. Misaki, MATSUTOMO and Ayaka Takahashi, the #1 seeds, should be comfortable for them against Joyce, CHOONG and Cheng. But as we've seen, Jesper Larsen, who's alongside me, former men's doubles world #1, not always as it seems. We've seen one or two big names, particularly in the singles rather than the doubles, already say goodbye to these World Championships.
Yeah, that's true. This hall and the whole atmosphere does make it difficult for some of the players, and especially the drift in here is difficult to handle, so we have seen some upsets.
Well, this is the draw, and as you can see, it's a pretty good draw early on for the #1 seeds. The Stavis sisters are waiting potentially in the round of 16, although I'm sure another of the Malaysian pairs in this side of the draw will think differently to that. But you'd expect them to get through this and through the round of 16. They've never yet, this is their 4th World Championships together, they've yet to reach the quarter-final stage, have Matsutomo and Takahashi. And as #1 seeds, the pressure will be on them to do at least that.
That's definitely true, but I think this time they're definitely going to get into the quarters, and they're probably looking forward to this and happy about the draw.
So we're just awaiting the arrivals of the players, the top seeds. Of course, in the women's doubles, I think it's fair to say that China have such a strong contingent. It's whether anyone can deny one of the 4 Chinese women's doubles pairs, and I suppose these two have to be among the contenders to do that.
That is true, and they've been doing really well this whole year since the last World Championships. I think the Chinese has a little advantage in this hall, though. The Japanese are usually a little better when it's in a slower hall where the shuttles are not that fast.
Because obviously I'm looking at the draw beyond, and you look at the quarter-final opponents that might come their way, and it's likely to be the Asian Games gold medalists Nitya Maheswari and Gracia Polly. 2-2 record against one another, but as you're mentioning, we're here in Indonesia. Conditions are slightly different. You maybe even make the Indonesian favourites if these two do meet in the quarterfinals.
I'm not sure about that, but they definitely have a chance, and on home soil and with the crowd in the back, it's going to be very difficult for the Japanese.
Well, that's to come, and of course, still to come today. Actually, we will have on court #1 Gracia Polly and Nitya Maheswari. They're in action later on today, but right now we're focusing on Ayaka Takahashi and Misaki Matsutomo. And of course, their opponents, as you can see, they're Yap and Joyce Chung. The music's a little louder than the crowd for once, isn't it?
It is. It's early in the morning. They're trying to wake everybody up.
Well, they're working a little bit. But I'll try and talk you through it as we see the players warm up here. And obviously one pair we know quite a lot about, the other pair we don't. I suppose for the Malaysians, Jesper's actually, let's look at the Japanese pair first. I mean, the top two stats say a lot, don't they? Seeded 1, ranked #1 in the world. They've won the Indian Open this year, reached the final, the Singapore Open, had a fair few semi-finals as well. And 6 Super Series finals in 2014, won the Japan Open. And I suppose the big surprise, they won in Dubai, the Super Series finals right at the end. And I can talk a little bit quieter now. They've turned the music down. How nice is that?
It is actually quite nice.
But it's a terrific record. But obviously everyone's looking at their record in majors, and they've yet to impress in any of these majors. I mentioned the World Championships. They've yet to even get to the quarterfinals in their attempts previously.
Yeah, and I actually went to Dubai last year, and even though Dubai is a very hot place, the hall was cold, the aircon was quite strong, and in that way the shuttles got slow in the hall, and that is obvious an advantage for the Japanese couple.
Well, to give her a full title, Joyce CHOONG. Alongside Cheng, 73rd in the world. They've been together a while. It's a very young pair. They're only 20 years of age. They played in junior events together. This is their first World Championships. They have played, obviously, in the World Juniors, got to the last 16, but there's their results in senior level. They reached the final of one event, which was in Iran, but a lot of first-round exits. You can see they've already played. Didn't take them long, did it, to beat the Russian pair of Victoria Dergunova and Olga Morozova. So pretty comfortable first round, 21-18, 21-12. Of course, this will be a very different proposition for them. And they have met the pair that opposite them, and you won't be surprised to know they won. The Japanese, that is, very comfortably. 21-8, 21-6. That was about 2.5 years ago. So, I mean, the girls were just 17, 18 years of age there. There you are. I mean, but we can't take anything from them. You would think they've matured a little bit since then.
They definitely are. A lot is happening with players from when they are 17, 18 years old until they are 20. So I don't think that old result can be used for anything. But still, there's quite a big difference between #1 and number 70-something in the world in the latest doubles. So the Japanese are clear favorites here.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen,
service job. We saw Andrea Chiappini, who is our umpire, is talking right now.
Malaysia. And on my left, Misaki MATSUTOMO, Ayaka TAKAHASHI, Japan. Cheng to serve to Ayaka TAKAHASHI. Level, play.
So we're underway on day 3 of these World Championships in Jakarta. And, well, the expectations are for the ladies at the far end, the world #1 pair to come through comfortably. We shall see. And this is what we can expect as well, some lengthy rallies, Jesper.
It is early in the morning, and in that way the shuttles doesn't seem as far as or as fast as they were, for example, last evening. So I think we are going to see more rallies now.
Because as soon as I said that, it was serve in the net, 2 shots and over. But I think the theme will be there should be some longer rallies in this one. But just the sort of start that MATSUTOMO and TAKAHASHI are looking for, because they don't want to give any confidence boosters, give a chance for the Malaysian pair to settle, because they're going to be nervous here.
Yeah, they will. It's as you mentioned, it's the first World Championships, and they want to do well, and this is sometimes what happens when you want to do well, is that you play it a little too tight and you take a little too many risks, and then you start making mistakes. They probably should maybe start lifting the first shot and then get the rally going.
Yeah, like they did in the first point, really.
Yeah, and like they do now, yes.
Well,
6 love.
I think you are going to find this could be the way in this match. Not that I'm saying that Malaysians won't win a point. Of course they will, and I'm sure they'll maybe even reach double figures. But you often see in this second round, you've got players who obviously got a bye in the first round, the #1 seeds obviously being amongst them. And then you've got a pair here that did very well, got through their match very well in the first round. But this is a really different level for Joyce, Cheng and Yap Cheng Wen from what they're used to playing in. I mean, they've been playing international Grand Prix events, and here they're up against a pair. They're off the mark at least, a pair that of course won one of the biggest events of 2014 in Dubai.
The Japanese are of course very experienced, and one of the things that they really have is that they have a lot of security. They usually never makes any easy mistakes, and in that way it's going to be tough scoring for the Malaysians.
Yeah, they've got a great defense, not that we're having to see much of it here, because they're obviously against, let's put it bluntly, an inferior pair, so they can do more attacking. But when they come up against the harder pairs, if you like, they've got ability, haven't they, to grind out results.
They really do, and this is a very good rally. We're also seeing some good defense from the Malaysians, but it also seems like the Japanese has a little more power in the smash than the Malaysian does, and I think that's definitely one of the deciding points or deciding things in this match.
Service over. 2-8.
In that way, it could be quite a useful workout, really, for the world #1s here, because they've got to do some attacking here, and there'll be a point, obviously, when they're up against some of the top pairs where they'll, have to put their offensive skills to good use.
Yeah, and just playing some good long rallies and getting the feel of the court, getting the feel of the drift in the hole, and so they're probably happy about this first round, that they can have half an hour on the court and get on to the next round.
Well, they've settled into it now, haven't they?
Yes.
Chris Chung and
9.
Yap Cheng Wen.
2.
There was a little spell early on in this match where they were giving points away pretty cheaply.
Looking at the Japanese couple, you can also see how their roles are on the court. We have the one serving now standing at the net most of the time, and the other one working in the back, and this is usually how they play.
Well, they worked that really well, because you were talking about the formation there, and they actually moved out of formation, but they got it right back in, and then Takahashi got herself to the back of the court, and as you can see, smashed it into the net. But
some good fighting defense from the Malaysians here.
Joyce, check. Thank you. 3-10.
Easy pickings for MATSUTOMO there. So the Japanese, as expected, I think cruise control may be a little bit too strong, but certainly easing their way to an 11-3 lead.
Yeah, they are definitely in control, and I think they will probably use this match, as I mentioned earlier, to get into the court and maybe also later in the game try lifting a little bit more, giving away the responsibility to the Malaysians and trying out the defense also.
Just 6 minutes of badminton so far, 11-3.
20 seconds.
I mean, for the Malaysian pair, I mean, they're only 20 years of age, and you know, it's a first World Championships for them. Obviously, a lot to learn by playing this quality of opponent. What can they do, though, to try and, you know, at least make the scoreline a little bit more respectable?
Yeah, what we're seeing now is that they're actually getting good rallies because the Japanese they're not that powerful, so you can play rallies with them, and that's also what we see. But if they are going to make points, they're probably going to take or need to take bigger risks, and in that way, of course, also risking making mistakes.
11. Service over. 12-4.
Yeah, well, let's say the pressure is really on for Takahashi and Matsutomo. Not in this match, obviously. They're 12-4 up, and you'd expect them to go through. But the 2013 World Championship, they were the #3 seeds there. They lost in the first round. That's long, and that's one of the things they'll be working on, trying to make sure they can get their length right in these conditions. But, you know, they lost in the first round in 2013. They lost in the first round in 2011. Lost in the last 16, which is as good as they've done in their previous 3 attempts in last year's World Championships. That's well played, nicely placed.
6-12.
Lost in straight games to Korean pair Lee So-hee, Shin Chung-chan. So they do have a point to prove at the World Championships, and of course they very much look destined to be at Rio next year. So this is a really big week for the Japanese ladies.
Well done by the Malaysians here. They are taking the attack a little more now, and I wonder if the Japanese actually spoke about it already in the break, that they should lift a little more and try out the defense.
Well, it's the old expression, isn't it? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And yeah, okay, they can play to the weaknesses of their opponents and maybe win by a bigger scoreline than what might be the case here, but there's things to learn as well, isn't there?
There definitely is, and as you mentioned, when they haven't done that well at the World Championships, and they're probably thinking about this as a marathon and trying to do everything as much as possible to get ready for the next couple of matches and really getting used to the whole. And if they're just trying to win in 15 minutes, then they'll probably not have enough time on this court.
Service over. 15-8. Service over. 9-15.
Takahashi here knew right away after she hit that one that was into the drift, and it also ended up going far out.
Out. Service over. 16-9.
still we see the same picture. We see Takahashi is working from the back, doing most of the smashing, and she can continue like that for hours. Whereas you see MATSUTOMO as more of a creative player. She's the one seeking the net, trying to do some deceptions at the net, getting the other ones out of balance.
Which is why you won't be surprised to know she also plays in the mixed doubles, where of course she assumes the same role, although beaten yesterday alongside Kenichi Ayaka. Lost to the Chinese pair of Liu Cheng and Bao Yixin, although it was a really good match. 21-19, 22-20. It was a really good battle, that. But I mean, she can focus now. In a way, it might be a benefit to these two. That was just long. Wasn't by much, was it?
No. Couldn't see it from here.
Yeah. Might have been worth a shot in terms of Hawkeye, but haven't gone to it. But in a way, the fact that she's out early in the mixed doubles, because they could easily progress. It came up a service fault call there. That's not what they needed, so that brings up game points. But it means, as I say, she can very much focus MATSUTOMO now on this women's doubles partnership. 10 game points here. And that's only one required, 21-10. Thank you very much. Number one seeds have their first set of these World Championships.
21-10.
Nice way to win it, nice deception.
Yeah, this is, of course, the Malaysians are backing a little bit because Takahashi has a good smash, and in that way, if they move backwards, they have a little extra time to stand in that defense.
So confirmation of that first set scoreline, MATSUTOMO and Takahashi comfortably winning it, 21 points to 10.
Joyce. Ayaka. Interval is mandatory. Interval is mandatory.
What was the umpire saying? Interval is
mandatory.
So they were saying, could they get on with it quicker?
20 seconds.
It seems like it. Maybe I'm not right that they want to have some time in there. They maybe just want to get out again.
Joyce.
Interesting that the Japanese pair were asking if they could start earlier. Obviously, these pictures are being beamed around the world, and obviously there's more reason than just to give players a breather why
Second game.
There's a couple of minutes required. So as the umpire Chiappini quite rightly pointed out, mandatory, you have to take the 2 minutes. It's not something you can play around with.
Service over.
I'm not too sure that the broadcasters are happy about no breaks.
And I don't think the players would be either.
Definitely not, no.
Although I do wonder sometimes whether they should have a break at the 11-point mark. Although in tennis, they sometimes stop after every 10 points, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they have quite a few breaks in tennis.
And they sit down. But your coach can't talk to you.
Not in all of not at the big tournaments, they can't.
Service over. 2-1.
As we see now, maybe the Malaysians can get through with the attack. They have the drift in the back, and in that way a little more power. So it's going to be exciting. They are definitely off to a good start here.
Service over. 2, 3.
Talked to Jill about this yesterday. I mean, obviously, as the #1 seeds and the #1 players in the world at this discipline, Takahashi and Matsutomo will have hopes of winning. But this is probably the one discipline where China are most dominant. I think since they've come into the World Championships, which was, I think, at the oh, that's a great length. Oh, it's given out. I don't know why they didn't get a Hawkeye on that one. That looked very close to my eyes, but I am much further away, I have to say, than the line judges. So we'll
yeah, maybe the Malaysians are not that used to playing on court 1 with the Hawkeye, so I don't know if they know that they actually could challenge that one.
Yeah.
4.
But the point I was getting to was this is the one discipline where China have really they've only not won the World Championships a Chinese pair once in the women's doubles since they've been in it, which is like something like 17 out of 18 times.
Yeah, that's quite amazing, isn't it? But both the Koreans and the Japanese are having some very strong ladies doubles, and let's see if it's this time that somebody will take up the fight with the Chinese.
Because the rankings also, I mean, I know there's obviously 4 Chinese pairs in the top 9 in the world, but they've really mixed them up a bit this year as well. So
Service over.
it's difficult to know, would this pair be #1 if they'd have gone with their strongest pairs all the time, playing in all the tournaments?
Yeah, the world ranking is, of course, also depending on how many tournaments you play, and in that way, if you swap around the pairings, then you don't get as many tournaments.
5.
Yeah, pre-Olympic qualification, a little bit of experimenting going on. Although, actually, I think some of that experimenting is going to, from some of the lineups I can see in the events coming up, might continue a little while yet. I suppose when you've got 4 pairs still in the top 10, that is definitely long. You can play around.
6, 4.
Make sure you got the right mixture. Now,
Service over. 5, 6.
playing some
Misaki.
decent badminton now. MATSUTOMO just warned about wiping the sweat off her brow onto the court.
Service over. 7, 5.
Japanese are making a little more mistakes than they usually are. Seems like the concentration is not fully on top, but they'll probably get settled now towards 11.
Service over. 8, 6. Misaki.
Got another strict umpire today.
Yours, mine, oh.
Yeah. That is a good spot to put it. Right in between of them, and we got a lefty and a righty, right-handed player on the Malaysian team, and in that way the confusion just got too big, and they didn't know who was going for it.
nice 4-point stretch to take Matsutomo and Takahashi into a comfortable mid-game interval lead of 11 points to 6.
They like this combination, Japanese Takahashi in the back, and then the kill from MATSUTOMO.
For 120 seconds. For 120 seconds. Coach. Please. Joyce. You. Eleven, 6. Play.
Well, it's a question of when, not if. A question of just how many by.
6.
Yeah, you're right. The Japanese are more concentrated now, back in cruise control, and yeah, it's difficult for the Malaysians. They need to take some risks, and then they need to go for some winners to make points, and it opens up for mistakes.
Yeah, they're firing now. That's 7 points on the spin for Ayaka Takahashi and Misaki Matsutomo. And there's another one.
15, 6.
That was a nice shot. Wasn't missing the line by much, that.
But if you looked at her where she was standing, that was a very short lift, and the Malaysian has lifted a few shots out of the back court, and in that way they are a little more careful now lifting, and then sometimes you lift too short when you do that.
16, 7.
Yeah, well played.
We might have a little surprise coming up on court number 4. The 8-seed men's doubles from Chinese Taipei is down 4-2 in the second and lost the first set against English couple Ellis and Language.
That's one to keep an eye on then.
18, 7.
Yeah, nice angle on the racket. And
19, 7.
well, it's a case of sprinting to the line here, isn't it? 19-7 now.
Wait.
Oh,
Service over.
A little too much sprinting here.
8.
yeah. Takahashi with a mistake. Her sister's on court a little later. Because she's Ayaka Takahashi, her sister's Sayaka Takahashi. So match points.
Service over. 20. Match point. 8.
Well done. one of their best rallies of the match, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it's true.
9-20.
Haven't been too many rallies in the second set. It's either been winners or mistakes by eliminations.
Well, there will no doubt be some bigger tests, much bigger tests to come for the Japanese pair, but the #1 seeds, Ayaka Takahashi, Misaki Matsutomo, make it look pretty easy out there early on here on a Wednesday morning in Jakarta. 21 points to 10, 21 points to 9. They've overcome Malaysia's Joyce Cheng and Cheng.
Ayaka Takahashi, 21-9, 21-10.
As confirmed by the umpire. And, well, they'll be pleased. Decent workout, but nothing really to test them in the way that they probably will do as this tournament progresses.
No, this was a quite easy win, and we also mentioned this in the beginning, that the difference between number 70, what were they?
73.
73 and #1 in the world and ladies doubles is just too big.
So confirmation through to the third round, where they may well meet the Stoyeva sisters, the number 16 seeds, Matsutomo and Takahashi, through 21-10, 21-9. So confirmation of the scoreline from that first match, and straightforward, wasn't it, for Matsutomo and Takahashi. We've got another women's doubles coming up fairly shortly, and the crowd starting to filter in, no doubt, to watch what is a medal hope for Indonesia, Masbari and Polly. They'll face another Malaysian pair, but it's men's singles next. Tanong Sak, Sayan Sombunsuk up against Derek Wong. Officials making their way out then for this men's singles match between two players with a lot of experience when it comes to World Championships. Both Derek Wong and Tanong Sak are playing in their 6th World Championships, and when you consider they're 24 and 25 years of age respectively, that's a fair bit of experience, isn't it, Jesper?
It definitely is. The different federations knew that these players are going to